Yung ako nang bahala sila dun. Anyway, alright. Let's go to the last main na topic. So the last main topic that we have is minors and majors. So this is going to be a doozy. So they're going to change the way the minors and the majors work from the number to the points given to the fundamental interaction between minors and majors, because ngayon medyo wala siyang interaction, right? So I'm going to read it. Unlike this year, next season's minor and major events will be held in pairs, with qualifiers for each set to run in exclusively scheduled windows, the first coming in September. There will be no direct invites to either minors or majors, thank God. The major qualifier will run first, and teams who do not qualify for the major will be eligible to compete in the minor qualifiers a few days later. The winner of the minor main event will have a reserved slot in the respective major happening shortly afterwards. All minors must feature at least 8 teams, with a minimum of 1 qualifier per region. Majors must have at least 16 teams, with at least 2 qualifiers per region. All teams that play in a minor or major will earn DPC points. Teams participating in the minors will be required to work on the visa application in advance of the tournament in order to be able to make the major if they win. Okay. I like this so much as a broadcaster, because that means makakatulog kami.
I think this is very great, except maybe for me the visa thing.
Yes, which is the thing we were talking about
It's
yesterday.
not a problem of
The
everyone,
visa
yeah.
major.
I
The
think
visa major.
People are not even complaining because for other countries it's not really a
It's
problem.
not
for
hard.
them.
It's hard for here, for the Philippines. Yun yung problema eh. Okay, so what do you think?
I think it's really great. I'm a fan of this system.
Mm.
This is very, very good for tier 2 teams.
Mm-mm.
If we're saying na poaching is gonna be
Bad for them.
it's gonna be a challenge for them. This new system is very, very beneficial for tier 2 teams. Because let's say in our case, in Southeast Asia's case, this season you have 3 teams qualifying for events. Minaski, TNC, and Fnatic. And the problem with them always qualifying and is the other teams are complaining na. Is there
we can't get actual
Is
practice.
there any reason to continue investing on a team? Kasi we always lose the qualifier. These teams always qualify, and in return they get stronger, they get the experience, and we don't. So even if they can take maybe 1 game here, 1 game there, pagdating sa playoffs, pagdating sa actual
no
events that
consistency.
matters, they don't win. With this system, if we're gonna have, assuming it stays at it is, na may tatlo pa rin silang dominant teams, we're gonna have 2 teams ngayon directly going directly to the major, and we're gonna have another qualifier for the minor. And chances are, if you're only competing for 1 team, you only need to defeat 1 team now. Unlike before na, especially kasi Mineski receive a lot of their invites later on in the season. But midway, there's 3 of them competing for spots.
So silang tatlo lang yung nag-musical chairs.
But
with Mineski getting a lot of
pagdating
them.
dito, if there's 2 slots for Southeast Asia, kunyari,
Now you just need to beat Fnatic.
you have to beat 1. You just have to beat 1 because 2 are gonna qualify. So basically, you have this is more. There's gonna be more incentive for teams to
keep
participate.
trying.
There's
Yeah,
gonna be
to keep
more chances
trying.
for them.
That's
And
true.
I think that's very big for a smaller team. If you want
It's
to get
good for
experience.
South America and SEA in particular, I think. You in other regions, yung mga top predators, for example, in CIS, the top predator was just 1 team, and they're always invited, so it's fine, right? Hindi mo masyadong maramdaman. For SA, the main advantage to this is the fact that there are 2 that's going to be invited, right? So theoretically, that can bolster growth sa kanila. Well, now we can actually field more teams because there's an actual good chance that we can send 2 participants to the major.
Well, that's actually, if you're counting it, tatlo na eh. Kasi
well, yeah.
Because may minor
because the minor
opportunity ka
qualifier.
pa.
Totoo.
That's the thing. Before, that's not the case because the teams before going to the majors are also the ones going to the minors.
Totoo.
So ngayon, yeah, again, especially for teams like, actually, I think it's good for everyone, maybe except for China, which has a surplus of teams.
Yeah, mas makukonte. Instead of seeing 5 to 6 per event, there's a chance that they only get mga siguro they have 2 for sure, and then the minor winner.
Plus they have a surplus to begin with. So
Totoo.
compared to other region, again, kahit sa CIS, there's only VP.
Yeah.
But now you get at least 2 more teams coming from the CIS region qualifying. it goes for the other regions, so it's gonna help the smaller teams. The bigger teams should be able, the better team should still be
Yeah.
able to qualify.
Yeah.
Especially, there's no excuse ngayon na hindi kami na-invite kahit mas deserving kami. No one's
Ah.
gonna say that anymore
Right,
because there's no direct
I think
invites.
that's my favorite change dito. Because you lose all of those, again, competitive integrity, tangentially related.
You also
na-
lose a Twitter drama, though. That's the bad thing
That's
about
fine with me. That's fine
That's
with
very-
me. Because in yung trade-off nun, I don't have to see, wala, na-invite na naman si Dendy. Alam mo yun, mga ganun eh. That's what I don't like. Although I will lose PPD tweets. You know, na-invite na naman
Yeah, there's no
si
there's no
EG.
one to blame right now.
Yeah. So, may question si Team Macaroni Salad. So, as long as qualify ka ng minor or major, may points ka agad. Yes.
Yeah, as
Yes,
long as you compete
Yeah.
there.
As long as you compete. So, LAN event. So, the way that it's going to be paired off is going to be major qualifier, minor qualifier, minor main event, major main event. And the reason for that is, if you hindi kayo na-qualify sa major qualifier, you are already invited to the minor qualifier. So that's the reason why mauuna yung major qualifier. If hindi kayo nanalo doon, let's say, major qualifier sa SEA, nanalo ang TNC and Fnatic. Sabihin natin.
Well, I don't think automatically, just eligible.
You're eligible. Yeah, you're eligible to play. Sorry. Fnatic and TNC now have, Execration, Geek Fam, Taskas Titans, Mineski, they now have a chance to still find themselves to get to the major because now they can join the minor qualifier that's happening shortly after. If they win the minor qualifier, they go to the minor. And in the minor, if they win first place, they still go to the major. So it's a longer path, pero may chance ka pang makahabol. Right? So, meron tayong isang scenario na i-outline ni Ren that's going to be very weird.
That's the qualifying.
Is it more advantageous to qualify to the major directly or to go through the minor?
I think this is something.
Mm.
Maybe I wouldn't say it's more advantageous, but
Mm.
I would say na if you're trying to catch up points later in the season,
It's an
maybe in the
option.
fourth and the fifth major cycle, it's definitely an option to try qualify through the minors.
Mm-mm.
Again, this is all depending on how much points will be given. Pero kahit na kasi anong bigay na points, you're still gonna get more points if you
Totoo.
came from a minor. But you're basically betting on yourself to win the minor.
Mm-mm.
But pag nangyari yun, you're basically gonna get points for winning a minor and then possibly you're gonna get more points for competing in a major.
Mm-mm.
So that might be a strategy later on.
Mm-mm.
Sa umpisa, I don't think it's a very viable one.
Totoo.
It's
Totoo.
very risky sa
Yeah.
umpisa without much reward.
So, yun nga, just to outline yung sinabi ni Ren, it could be an option na instead of going directly to the major where you could win points, you try and get to the minor first, and you'll get points just for being in the minor. Win that, get to the major, and then now you have more points than if you just went straight to the major. Right? So, again, just a weird scenario, probably not going to happen because it's a corner case.
I think yeah, very.
Corner case lang siya actually.
Plus it's though I think a nice change sa minors dito,
Mm-mm.
or might be a nice change, is minors will actually feel like minors and majors
Exactly.
will feel like majors,
Yeah.
which is not the case here.
Yeah.
I think
There are some minors that have felt like they were majors, but then when you take a look at the point incentive that they gave out at the end,
yeah,
Bong, walang kwenta.
it's not
yeah, it's not worth it. It
it's
wasn't
not
worth it.
to
Yeah.
compete there. But there are some minors who actually acted like minors. I think GSC in mind.
Yeah,
They were
both
I think
of them.
they were how minors were envisioned to be.
Mm.
And I think maliban doon sa being minors there, it's a good stepping stone for other teams.
Totoo.
Especially if those are not your T1 teams so qualified for a 16-team major.
Mm-mm.
Then these are definitely the tier 2 teams, at least in that stage. So it's a nice place for them to be with na hindi sila naman, they can compete at the same time, they can earn money, they can get DPC points, and on the other hand, they can play on a relatively equal skill level compared to being blown away kunyari sa, especially we had bad formats this season.
Yes. So ngayon, meron minimum guarantees in terms of format, or at least structure, because they're at least 16, at least 8. So titignan natin. There are other questions, however. For example, nakalagay doon, for the minors, you have to have at least one regional, one qualifier per region.
Oh, yeah,
So
for
that
the-
still leaves room for 2.
Yeah.
So ang basa doon is that's probably Valve's way of giving the leeway for the organizer to hold a localized na qualifier. So if they hold a minor in the Philippines, sabihin natin, may 6 na regions and then you have a Philippine qualifier.
You're not even localized, even like when you perceive a region to be stronger than it is.
Right, maybe add another one for China.
We can do that.
Kasi ano siya at least lang naman At least, right?
So at least there's some freedom. Pero, anong question ko sa'yo pa? Before, we had 22 events, DPC events. Now we're gonna have 10. But before we have substantial bidders for events. We have Star Ladder, PGL, ESL, Dota Pit, Perfect World, Dream League, MDL Summit, DC Moondock, GSC Epicenter, and all these companies bidding. Do you think this will be the case this time?
No, I actually don't think so. I think pagdating sa organizer level, I think the more moneyed organizers have a very clear advantage going into this because kung titignan mo siya, you have the minor and it feeds into the major. Right? On a business-to-business level, bakit mo gugustuhin na yung tournament mo is of a smaller stature to a competitor's tournament and your champion goes there? Right? Medyo ano siya, it's the example that, and Toby also used this example sa video niya, was ESL and PGL, who have more than just a business rivalry. There is some bad blood there, right? So, mahirap. So, I think for some organizations, they would rather that they just have both, right? They would just have both of those both of the minor and the qualifier. But if one organization will handle just both the minor and the major qualifier in a cycle, then they would have to place it in the same place.
Yeah, ideally.
Because 4 lang yung araw yung tentative schedule natin. It's just a 4-day break between the minor LAN event and the major LAN event. So it doesn't make sense na kung may ESL 1 Malaysia, tapos ESL 1 Birmingham.
The logistics is gonna be hard.
The logistics is very hard, right? So if one organization will hold it, lalagay lang nila na ESL 1 Malaysia, minor, ESL 1 Malaysia, major. Parang ganun lang.
As well.
Diba?
Considering, let's say, booking a venue for 3
weeks. 2 to 3 weeks.
It's super expensive and super hard.
So, medyo mahirap. Medyo mahirap. I do think, however, na there will be organizations that will work together. So, for example, maybe the Chinese orgs and then PGL. Perfect World PGL. Those are pretty tight business partners. For example, maybe over here, it's Mineski event or Masters events team and maybe ESL.
Maybe Star Ladder then Epicenter.
Star Ladder and Epicenter.
No. They're proximate.
Subukan natin. And ito mga sinasabi namin, these are like business insights na about esports. So yun yung mga parang question marks kung paano mo siya gagawin.
Kasi I think I think for me this is interesting. With only 5 majors and you already have big players. Let's say PGL is probably gonna get to one.
Probably already has one because
there's already
sabi nila
have one in
November was already booked.
So I would assume that Perfect World has one because China has to be there. I think Epicenter is a good candidate.
Yeah, so we already have 3 majors. 3 majors na ano. So ESL doesn't seem to have one yet because ESL 1 Hamburg that was announced a few weeks ago is not going to be part of the DPC.
Yeah, but I think there's still a good candidate. Maybe
they're a good candidate, but we don't know if they have one yet.
Yeah, maybe MDL as well. Yeah. MDL run the Chansha major was great.
Yeah,
they also had a minor, pero it's getting tight for the organizers. Plus,
and here's the thing: I don't know if it's profitable to run a minor because, well, medyo in comparison to this year, the minors have been very unprofitable. Right, they're unprofitable compared to anything else.
Especially next year, where wala kang tier 1 teams.
Exactly.
That's the big problem here.
Yun nga Pagdating ng next year pa, well, ngayon, the financial stress of running a minor or a major ngayon is still, you're going to feel that in the next fiscal year. Kasi advance mo sa pera yun
Yeah.
Hindi ka pa mababayaran ng mga sponsor, yung revenue mo hindi pa kompleto. So, you're going to feel that in the next year. Ngayon, kung magbibid ka pa for a minor again, you have to have deep pockets for you to be able to do that. Diba? Kung you're your GSC, for example, I don't know if they're big enough to hold another minor next year.
Yeah, I think
Definitely not a major.
I think Star Ladder is a good candidate.
Star Ladder,
Except for them,
probably.
I don't know. Maybe
Diba?
I think the Summit also because yung production value nila is
Yeah,
low
totoo.
and
Maybe
people
Moonduck.
yeah again this all lies na kailangan ba yung LAN event sa minors? Is that
Doesn't
it
say,
doesn't say na.
but
So I think
yeah.
events like I think it's just the dates ang binigay lang kasi na format sa na requirements sa minor and major are the date, the number of teams and the invites.
Totoo.
So
We don't actually know.
I think
yeah.
I think this might
the big there's a big likelihood that it has to be a LAN. Right.
it's LAN pero it's like low production LANs.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's not big LANs. I think this is gonna be the direction with
Pero
this
yun,
change.
I don't know how profitable running just a minor is going to be next year.
Yeah, again, kasi minors this year, at least you can
You can
invite
invite
EG or Navi or Secret.
Yeah.
Secret usually.
Diba?
But you have a draw for the teams.
Mm-mm.
Now, who's gonna be your teams now?
Yeah, it's weird. So, yun yung parang question mark doon. It's more of a business standpoint now, maybe for the organizers, for them to resolve. I mean, the answer is, if it's business, get good, diba?
What can you say about ano pala? About Valve not forcing formats pa rin sa events.
Forcing formats?
Or yeah.
Dapat 16, dapat 8.
No, not just
ganun?
the tournament format, the specific tournament format.
Has to be GSL.
Let's say sa major.
Yeah.
Let's say sa major lang.
Yeah.
Because that's a problem that we've seen over
Yeah.
and over
Yeah, this year.
this season.
ESL
And you see
Birmingham,
you see in
format
something
sucks.
like the Super Major, which is a very good format.
Yes.
Kung ano yung naging effect na sa brackets, it's a very good bracket.
It's a good bracket. The top 4 are in the top 4.
The winners advance. The better teams advance.
I think
I would have hoped actually that there's a bit more structure sa major tournament
Yeah.
formats.
totoo.
Though I think we just have to hope for Valve to get the right bids.
Mm-mm.
But that's why I'm asking din kanina if there's enough people to bid even. Because otherwise there might not be a lot of choices to
Totoo,
have
totoo.
for Valve.
I don't actually think there's going to be enough, diba? That people are not in a position. And that's the thing. So tinanong mo sa akin, what do I think about forcing formats? I'm of two minds about it kasi on one hand, competitive wise, it would be better for me if Valve insisted on particular formats. Right? Because again, yung epekto niya is you get the most competitive it becomes the most competitive that it can be.
Basically, the more games, the better.
The more games, the better, right? But then on the organizer level, mahirap yun. The reason why we saw a lot of weird formats this year is because the costs for the entire event, and I'm talking about the entire event, not the prize pool. The logistics of putting up the event were shouldered by the organizers. Right? For example, ESL. Yes, you could have a longer event, but then you would have to rent longer in Birmingham. That's in London. The price of venue is very high compared to the Philippines, for example. Right? Even Arena of Stars in Malaysia, right? ESL 1 Genting. Mas mahal. So, in order to cut logistics costs, you have to take a hit in your format. And to take a hit on your format, we've seen some organizers invite less teams, 12 for ESL events. MDL Changsha was a little bit of an outlier because they managed to get 12 but still have an okay format.
Yeah.
Right? They had an okay format. MDL Changsha was good. But that's an outlier. All of the other 12, we had a major that had 8.
Yes, the first one.
The first one, diba? So hindi siya yung the most competitive that it can be. But again, these are all bottom line eh. Bottom line yung inisip ng mga organizers dun eh. Because sila yung mag-shoulder nung cost. So may anggit dito si
POJ.
Joe Peter. I'm
Joe
assuming.
Okay.
Yeah, backwards, right?
Galing mo.
Yeah. Di kaya mawalan ng organizer yung mga
That's a
events.
very good question. That's a very, very good question.
Very good
because
question.
If there's not a lot of incentives for minors, there's even less incentives for
Diba?
non-DPZ events.
Oo. So, nabanggit mo kanina na dun sa spacing, we might see other events.
Yeah, we do have
pop up,
window.
right?
Between the
Mm-mm.
minor qualifiers and the minors, it's more or less 1 month.
Yeah, more or less 1 month.
More
So
or less
you
1
could
month.
have like a tournament in between.
Yeah, plus I think for the major teams, it's gonna be 6 weeks because they're not gonna be in the minors.
They're not gonna be in the minors.
But
So
is it gonna be competitive enough, or it's gonna be enticing enough for the teams to join?
maybe the summit is going to be that. Alam mo yung mga ganun, Midas mode sa atin,
Champions mode,
MPGL, MPGL lands. But again, who knows, diba? How profitable is that going to be? Again, this is one of those things about in esports na you have to really think about. Events cost money. That's why we don't do events.
I think our problem is we're talking about events being profitable in the first
That's
place.
the problem. They're not. They are expenses.
That's one of
They are marketing expenses.
that's one thing pala that we have to consider is, will Valve, change their financial support here?
Yes. So that's the other thing, right? So we went from 11 minors and 11 majors, so 22 total events, to 10.
Was it like that? I think it's
Right? Well, yung proposed was 22.
It was 13 minors and 9
pero
majors.
yeah, because nag-cancel yung iba, they had to fill in the other ones. Remember GSE nagtanggal.
Those are minors anyway.
Anyway.
Yeah, but there were 22 events this year.
There were 22 events this year. Now, with the total na binawas nila, the total events na nawala sa atin, I think the calculation was a total of 9.7 million yung nawala. 8.5 million nawala from the majors that we're not getting, and 1.2 million from the minors we're not getting.
Yeah, the different calculation though. I calculated this naman.
I think that was Toby's calculation.
Yeah, I calculated naman based off Valve's contribution.
Yung Valve, yeah.
So, ang contribution ni Valve from 13 minors and 9 majors is 6.45 million. For 5 minors and 5 majors, assuming it's gonna be 150 for minors and 500 for majors pa rin, it's gonna be 3.25,
so,
which is kalahati na lang.
Yung buy-in niya.
So
nasa napunta yung other 3.20?
Yeah, I'm not saying that kailangan nilang gamitin yun, but I'm wondering, will they allocate that somewhere else? Will they give off a higher price pool?
Ako, for my money, and again, we don't know kung saan nila dapat ilalagay yun.
Actually, wala naman talagang dapat. Because
that's
their money.
It's their money.
We're not saying na...
We're not saying where they should put it.
Kailangan nilang gumastos ng ganito kalaki for the
Kasi
event.
kung ganun, just give it to me, diba? Pero, I would like for Valve to reinvest that into helping subsidize the cost of events. I would rather do that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Plus, if that's the case,
alam mo yun, parang co-host the event.
Yeah, I think more organizers then will be able to step up.
Exactly.
Some na kaya nila by their skills but not by their wallets.
Exactly. Diba?
And
they have the expertise to do this, but rising logistics costs, rising event costs, venue costs. Maybe even if you can just subsidize the cost of renting the venue, that's going to be a very big load off of an organizer trying to put up a Valve level event, right? So, yun, pwede yun. Or maybe ang gagawin nila is instead of matching the prize pool, they give the prize pool.
That's something they can do,
right? So the prize pool is no longer something that should be shouldered by...
Yeah, kasi pag dinoble nila, it's gonna be the same contribution
it's the same contribution. Yeah, exactly.
If they cover the same price, if you're static sa price pool natin.
Diba? So, 300,000 pa rin yung minor, pero si Valve yung nagbigay nun. That's $300,000 that you don't need to... that's $150,000 that you can now use to make sure that you have a not stupid format. You have longer rent on your venue. You can, hindi ko na nga iniisip yung flight cost and yung player care masyado eh.
Yeah, that's basically,
diba?
in the grand scheme, those are small expenses na lang.
Yeah, those are small expenses when it comes to flying in the requisite amount of people to run your event. That's a big cost every time you run an event.
Even just their, the flight, the accommodation, the food.
Nung staff.
That staff pa lang, that's a lot of money.
Masyado na malaki yun, diba? So isipin mo, that's a savings that the organizer can put there. So, for example, PGL. PGL went here for Manila Major. They brought a platoon. They brought more than 30 people to run the production. They were here for a month.
Plus, I think another good thing if that happens is the payout is going to be consistent.
Yes.
I think that's a very good change. Kasi it varies ngayon from organizer to organizer.
There are some organizers because maliit yung war chest nila. Yung nakabangko nilang pera because they're either new or they're small or whatever.
Or naka-contract deal sila
for some reason. Maybe yung sponsor nila will pay out in 6 months pa. Hindi natin alam. There are some tournament organizers that just by sheer fate or their design, they cannot pay the prize pool immediately. They
Yeah,
can.
and immediately is 1 month. That's
And
not
immediately is 1 month.
not even. Pag sinabing 1 month, that's actually very fast turnover
Totoo.
na.
Diba? That's just the nature of the business. Diba? May mga kunwari, nag-pledge ng magbigay ng 5 million pesos sa'yo. Pero, alam mo yon, kailangan pa siyang company disbursement, kailangan pa siyang mag-check clearing. It can take anywhere from a month to more than that.
Especially if not, except between countries to.
Between countries pa, right? So wiring it's going to be bank to bank, but across countries, across jurisdictions.
At that amount of money, you're gonna have to need papers and all these things.
For example, in the Philippines, kailangan pa siyang dumaan sa AMLC, Anti-Money Laundering Act. Diba? Or the AMLC, the commission. Diba? So,
it's 500,000 lang.
500,000
Amlak na.
Diba? Kailangan. So, these are the sort of things that organizers have to think about before they put up an event. And right now, this particular season, it's not very profitable to put together an event. Now, I think the last thing that we'll tackle about this section was yung mga binanggit ni LD, and Toby also talked about it in his blog after this one. It was the fact that with the new minors and majors, ang tatamaan dito is potential upcoming talent. Because now that there's no overlap in any of the events, hindi siya katulad nung dati na PGL, Star Ladder had the qualifiers happening in the same day, you know?
Yeah.
Especially early in the season. Now there's less chances for up-and-coming talent to be noticed, make their mark. Because now, kung may qualifier, yun lang yung nangyayari, all of the Tier 1 talents are free. They can just head into one location, sponsored by Star Ladder, let's say, and they just have the coverage hub. So now, people like B-Cup, Tsunami, you know, these up-and-coming talents na nakita nyo nag-cover ng qualifiers because the other talents were just in another event or flying out. Now they might fall by the wayside. What do you think about that?
I think it's gonna be challenging even for the current casters because there's not a lot of events going on right now.
So kailangan kung current caster ka, dapat sobrang tier 1 mo or at least very connected.
Not only tier 1, but you also have to be active.
Totoo.
You cannot afford to be,
can be absent. You can
if you slack off, there's only 5 events now.
Or
10
5
events,
majors.
5 majors.
5 minors.
5 minors. Pero, I think you really have to, it's gonna be very competitive then even as a talent side, especially for if you want to work on those events. Which can be a good thing or a bad thing. Mostly bad.
Mostly
but
bad.
I think it does have its,
Yeah. It's a problem for if you have a job or at least want to get a job as a talent in the industry.
Yeah, but let's see.
Doesn't affect the viewers as much.
I think we're not closing naman the possibility of there being more non-above events.
Totoo.
Definitely the exposure.
In the window areas.
Exposure is not going to be as big.
But it's a stepping stone.
I think the capacity to invite teams, it's still there.
Mm-mm.
It's just the financial burden now is bigger without.
Totoo.
Kasi iba pa rin yung dating ng, let's say, running 150,000 summit to 300,000 summit.
Yeah.
Well, whereas yung cost mo is gonna be the same, but your price pool is gonna be smaller.
Yeah. So yun yung mga parang...
We haven't talked about it. I think something important here is the visa issue.
Oh, right.
That's something...
pinag-usapan na sa simula.
yeah, something very challenging for...
That's true.
For teams in various
oh,
regions.
Wait. Oh, my God. I just refreshed, and apparently the VG Gaming J-Storm and TNC fight is going on. That's a big net worth lead for VG Gaming J-Storm.
That's a jump.
That's a big jump. Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah,
so for let's say Southeast Asian teams, let's have Mineski na lang as an example. They have players from 4 different countries.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be challenging for them to get, 1 visa is okay. 2 visas is gonna be hard. It's gonna be harder for some than the others kasi it depends on your passport, depends where you come
yung
from.
strength ng passport mo.
And also depends kung other countries allow you to apply on other countries.
Right.
But
you can go to the embassy from their country to...
But others you have to return
to your home country
to apply for a passport. And
the Philippines requires you, I think.
And right now for according to the guidelines released by Valve, that when you qualify for a minor,
You
you
have to
have to
also apply
always
for the
apply
major.
for the visa for a major, which for a new team this might be hard.
It might be it. Yeah.
No, it actually probably is hard
So I posted that on Facebook.
for most SA and Southeast Asian
Yeah.
teams.
So I posted that on Facebook. Sabi ko, if you want to compete in
Mhm.
this year's coming DPC, invest in a good manager because you don't want to lose the fight at the visa major. That's a problem.
That's true, but
That's a problem all the
there
time,
might
right?
there might be only so much a manager can do at this time
Oh,
at that point.
yeah.
Because I know if you're a major organizer, will you be giving recommendation letters for the
Yun,
minors
yeah,
even
yeah.
for the minor teams even?
Which ties back to sa sinabi natin. If there are different companies holding the events, it's going to be a logistical nightmare. Di ba?
Plus, what kind of visas are teams applying? And that's
Yeah,
that's
di ba?
varies pa
For the US, it has to be a P1.
Kasi
diba?
will you apply for
Tourist?
for a P1 visa kunyari on the
Mm.
premise that you might
Mm-mm.
go? I
Oo.
don't think that's the case for P1 visa. Usually
Oo.
you apply it for when you're
Yeah.
going or when you're qualified for
Yeah.
something.
So yun yung maganda yung tanong ni Marco Letlet. So pag hindi ka nakapasok, sayang yung visa application. There's a big chance that it could be
I think it will be for 7 out of 8
for 7 out of 8.
unless
Yung
pag-
isa, tutuloy yun for sure.
unless siguro pag maganda yung passport mo at
Oo.
let's say I think from Europe is generally okay.
Yeah.
If you live in Europe and nasa European event, then
Totoo.
you're good. If you live
Because
in
you have the
China,
Shenzhen, you can just go to any
if you live in China, then it's
EU.
China event, then wala kang problema. But if it's
Oo.
the other way around,
Oh, good
might be a
afternoon. Ayun na, talo daw TNC. Yan, nakita ko yung draft.
I think it will be helpful kung
Yeah, talo.
how many cases do we think? How many situations do you think this will be the case? Kasi
Alin?
yung visa problem.
So-
There's 5 majors.
Yes.
China for sure is
Has
probably
one.
gonna have a minor major combo.
Yes.
I'm almost
yes, for
it's,
sure.
It's very easy for them
Yeah.
to do that.
The European ones are okay as long as you hold them inside the European Union.
Yeah, Shenzhen multiple entry.
Shenzhen
I
multiple
think it will
entry
work.
visas will
I
work.
think it will work.
Totoo.
For Southeast Asia, generally walang problema.
Wala,
mga tao.
because the ASEAN is fine.
So that's
Oo.
kasi isang kinoconsider yun, there's 5 majors. What if they do 1 major for each region? I think I've seen people.
Yeah. Parang
things
yun
like
yung
that.
gusto nilang
So
mangyari.
China is okay. Europe is generally okay.
It's the US that's a problem. If they have a major in the US. It's a problem for
US is not a problem as long as you get maybe a longer duration
yeah.
visa.
Pero that's the problem. Yun nga, it's going to be hard for SEA, NCIS.
You just basically declare a longer tournament.
Yeah.
So,
Yun nga, diba?
it's not like you can.
It's not like
They
you
can.
can.
They
oo.
cannot verify this thing.
Yeah. Kasi ano yun pwede naman nilang i-verify sa valid itself.
Looking back, maybe it's not as bad as we think it would be.
It's definitely
it can,
doable.
It can potentially be bad.
It's bad for teams na hindi pa sila nag-i-invest in the expertise na kumuha ng visas. Kasi there is a month.
Mhm.
There's a month between qualifying for the minors and going to the minors. So you have a month to apply for the major visa, assuming that it's going to be in a different country. 'Di ba? Ang problema lang doon, katulad nga nung sabi ni Marco Letlet. For example, kung Philippines, nabanggit mo to yesterday nung
Yeah,
nag-usap tayo, 'di ba? If you're going to the States and nag-apply ka for a visa, which you have to do if you qualify for the minor, and the majors in the US, pag hindi ka nanalo ng minor at hindi ka lumipad, it's going to be harder for you to get a visa.
Yeah, they're gonna question you for
Yeah, they're
that.
gonna question you. Bakit ka nag-apply ng visa at hindi mo tinuloy? So, ano gagawin mo? Tier 2 team ka na nga, lilipad ka pa. E di nagsayang lang kayo ng pera.
And you spend a lot of money in.
Because it also
Applying.
costs a lot of money to get the visa. That's for 5
Yeah,
players.
sinasabi ko kanina na madali is let's say kung if China gets a pair, if Europe gets a pair, that's assuming it's a pair. But if it's in different places, which it's not an impossibility,
It's not an impossibility, no?
it might be very difficult. Kasi kunyari sa Philippines lang, in our case, I've applied to a number of visas. Sometimes just arranging appointments is hard.
Yes.
Even,
Takes a
you
while.
And as much as possible, there's something that we don't want to be doing underhanded stuff. We want to
Yeah.
be going through legal processes.
And
due process.
there's a way to go about, diba, na you apply for different visa in the Shenzhen region, then you go through that way. May mga ganun It depends on which visa or which embassy mas malakas yung or mas maganda yung relationships ng bansa nyo. But again, you don't want to have to keep doing that. So, That's just the advice. If you want to compete for the for DPC this year, invest in a good lawyer, lalo na kung tier 2 team kayo. The tier 1 teams, medyo wala tayong problema.
Lawyer and manager.
Lawyer, manager. That sounds more costly to put together a team. Natin.
No, Charlie Yang is gonna be valuable.
Charlie Yang is going to be back, yes. No, Alex Garfield.
Alex
Magbabalik. Diba? Anyway, na Team OG lineup daw, yung TNC Puro Illusions. Yeah, they had a Luna, Luna Shadow Demon.
Classic. It's over. That's a quick game. 30 minutes-ish.
Yeah, they have MSS.
Suddenly over, actually.
Yeah, they have snaking. Gusto kong panoorin to, but paano nangyari to?
Maaga sila. Pang ilang pick yung resolution muna?
Wait,
first phase, I think.
Is it first phase? Yes, yeah, it's first phase.
They're the only team
Tapang.
They're the only team with that's the
ang tapang.
Shadow Demon.
Tinanggal nila yung Morphling tsaka yung Warlock for MSS. I think this was a good pick, yung 5th pick na Underlord against.
There's not a lot of team going for first phase Luna.
No, I think it's only resolution, right?
Yeah.
No, Ame sometimes.
Yeah, but that's because they have Chalice.
That's because they have Chalice now, that's true.
Kahit anong gawin na.
Kahit anong ibigay mo yung Chalice.
Wala kayo. Basta he survived the lane. He gets all the flak, but
hey man,
he does his job.
He's 5-star Uber driver, okay? He's good. Alright, good afternoon sa inyo. So, again, we have Ren today para pag-usapan ng malalim yung mga kaganapan sa DPC. Sandali lang, may gagawin lang ako. Sandali lang. Masyado malamig. Masyado malamig yung aircon. Shoutouts kay Gibbs and Chill. All in daw sila kay Reso. Yeah, I mean, that's just BG Gaming J Storm. That's their plan. Pass the ball. It's a good plan. Pass the ball to resolution, which is something that OG should have done, but whatever. Okay.
Not tail 1.
Not yet.
No tail 1.
Not yet tail 1. All right. Okay. Sige. So, final thoughts. I
think let's throw in a schedule a bit.
Yeah, sige. Tingnan natin yung schedule for the upcoming DPC. Let's see all the minors and majors. Can we put that up on the screen, please?
September 17 pala, not 15 to start.
15 yung lock. 15 yung registration.
All right.
Start of registration.
So yeah, if you have a team, you want to join this coming DPC season, you should lock your roster.
By September.
Lock your 5-man roster by September 15 para maging eligible kayo for invites ng
major
qualifiers.
Yep.
Well, there's gonna be open Oh yeah, there's probably open qualifiers then.
Yes. It depends on It depends.
It depends pa rin. That's something hindi pa natin alam.
It depends. Well, for the first one, there's probably not going to be an open. It's probably not going to be an open for the first.
For majors.
Yeah, for the first cycle. So first cycle natin hindi siguro. So yung November 8 to November 19 na major. God,
I know, it actually makes sense na maraming open sa umpisa because halo-halo roster mo dyan.
Halo-halo pa ako. Pero wala atang oras eh. Well, that would be 2 to 3 weeks after TI. Diba? That's 2 to 3
they're probably
weeks.
gonna make. I think it makes sense to have a.
It makes sense, pero I don't know if there's going to be enough time. Unless they hold 2-day.
Two-day qualifiers.
2-day qualifiers. Oh. Or actually, essentially 1 day. September 15 yung
There's parang you take maybe one day sa opens, then the rest or 2 days sa open, then the other shorter.
Pwede naman, I guess. So ayun, so ito po yung natin, the cycle. So beginning of September, it ends on November 19 is the first major minor cycle. The next one is November 26th to January 27th, Feb 1st to March 24th, March 28th to May 12th, and then May 15 to June 30. So assuming that TI9 is going to be in August, so about a little over a month lang between major main event and TI. So possibly 6 weeks, right? June 30, and then second week of August.
Yeah, right now we're looking at more or less 2 months, aren't we?
Yeah, right now we're looking at 2 months. Pero nga, for the next one, it's just 6 weeks, right?
Yeah,
it's actually pretty close. compared to this year. Pero tingnan natin.
Yeah, 'cause we're
They
gonna
can they can always move TI to 3rd or 4th of August. Di natin alam. Sorry, it's very cold.
Yeah, but that's the gap. Yung mga interesting. There's only so much time. The only time actually to put an event outside the DPC is between the minor qualifiers and the minor main event.
Yun lang. So between for example, sa September, it's for 29, 33 days. Yeah, a little over a month between minor qualifiers and first minor main event. 27 plus 7, 34 days between minor sa December 4 and January 7.
Yeah, so roughly a month.
Roughly a month.
In yung gap mo. So there might be some smaller scale events, maybe nothing.
So maybe even a total of 15 actual events across the year, diba?
And WSG is probably still gonna be there
in January. So January siguro yung WSG, right? So December 4 to January 7 siguro yung magiging duration niya. Right?
I don't think that's gonna be a DPC. I don't think they care.
No,
actually.
they don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care.
So this is gonna happen nonetheless. But yeah, it's gonna be tight.
Yeah.
And let's just hope. I think it's really important that there's gonna be more events. I think this is gonna be potentially
November 26 to November 30, 2018. Yeah, tignan natin. Ako, by the way, may nakalagay din dito, make sure to include detailed formats kung gusto niyo mag-propose ng mag-event. Kung kunwari, events organizer kayo at nakikinig kayo nitong show na to at gusto niyo sumabak sa mundo ng Dota. Ito, pwede niyo yung isend
it's the
din
time.
dito. Yeah, now's the time. Not because we are not going to do this. I don't know who has the money. So kung may pera, go. So may tanong dito si King Aim. Mga sir, sa tingin nyo next year may major or minor na tour nang gagawin sa Pilipinas? Realistically, it's very small chance. I would like to believe that Valve would want one here. At least a minor.
I think if it's a lot of a lot of organizations want one here.
A lot of ay sinasabi ko sa inyo.
It's not a matter of them wanting it.
It's not a matter of them wanting it. Kasi kung gusto lang, usapang gusto lang, maraming gumugustong mag-event.
We're probably gonna have
Philippines.
3 events a year.
Sa totoo. If we had it our way, we would have an ESL event. Probably a Dream League event actually, right? Probably.
PGL is probably
PGL I don't know because they
anymore.
also do China. So that's 3 regions that they're serving now. No, they even do TI. That's 4 regions they're serving now. And then MET.
Yeah.
Diba MET? Hindi naman palaging kailangan ESL 1 yung kasama nila, diba? So in a perfect world, the Philippines would have 3 events every year. That's
if it's
how
just how much if it's just a matter of them wanting it to be here.
kung kagustuhan lang.
Because we have proven to be
Dirt cheap.
and it's an amazing environment to be in.
It's a
I
good
think
environment.
listening to casters,
Galaxy
after,
battles nga eh.
after all these years, they're still saying that the Philippines is still one of the best, if not the best experience they've had as a talent.
Masyadong maganda po yung naging kahihinatnan nila dito. Yun nga, di ba kahit nawala yung major status ng Galaxy Battles, they enjoyed themselves.
They did.
And that was after all of our skepticism putting it in Bulacan.
Yeah, that was well-due skepticism as
It was well due, pero that's even through it fought through that. Di ba? Fighting through that pa. And that's not even the ideal. Di ba? Philippine Arena is not the ideal.
Far from.
Di ba? Far from. Far. WSG event sa Pinas, kaya ba? Probably not.
No, it's a Chinese event.
Chinese event?
It's funded by
Actually, it was also subsidized by the Chinese government.
Alibaba as well, right?
So until Alibaba has a regional operations office here, probably not.
They own Lazada.
Yeah, but it's not their regional office. So yeah. So yeah, sa tingin mo, any other closing thoughts for the DPC?
I think for the DPC, this is gonna be. I'm looking forward to a much better season as far as the rules are concerned. This is something I'm looking forward to. Though I really hope that there's gonna be more tournaments outside of the DPC events.
Oo nga. Yeah. Ako, again, the devil is in the details. So, it's really the implementation na gusto kong abangan. On paper, I like the changes. I think they're a good direction. It's just going to be hard implementing some of these things in actual practice. I like the minors and majors, though.
Minus majors is great.
Na yung change doon. I think it's really good. It solves a lot of problems with teams burning out. Wala nang time for practice because palipat-lipat sila ng mga events.
Every team felt like a major.
Everything
The
felt like a major.
The allocation of points is really great.
Pag nakita ko ngayon, parang 4,000 points, it doesn't mean anything to me. Right? Kasi masyado siyang masyado siyang malahi, nebulous, wala siyang context. So, I like it. I'm just Valve, please don't fuck this up. I am 9 out of 10 on this. And sabi mo sa akin kahapon, there's a big chance that I'll be 2 out of 10.
Don't worry, you'll find more reasons to be. No, that's not very optimistic.
We have to be optimistic. We are
we have
optimistic
to.
though. We are optimistic though. So totoo lang.
There's a lot to look forward to again. Yeah. That's the thing.
It's a lot to look forward to. Then these are going to be in every event. So who's going to take the place of the face of Dota? Diba? The symbol of peace. Hindi natin alam. All right. That's a My Hero Academia joke. Anime is a mistake. Anyway, Mark Piol 123. Part ba sila Trike na nag-organize dati? I'm assuming you mean Manila Major. In which case, yes, we were part of that. That was Trike, myself, as part of Peso.
They enjoyed that.
It was Seda. Oh no, not Seda. Not Seda.
Didn't you? You were very. You were. I think parang sobrang relax mo nun at that time.
Ako, really?
You were
No.
so relaxed. Yeah, I don't see a picture of you being stressed at all. It's like, this is the best time of my life.
Sigurado ka ba? Kalahati ng puting buko galing sa Manila Major eh. Oh my God. I am never doing an event again after Manila Major.
That's the events ayoko na mag-organize.
Nope. That made me
Not
quit.
again.
That made me quit. But you were doing player care at ESL 1, right?
I was, yeah.
Yeah, player care at ESL 1. Nung ESL 1 Manila 2016, that Ren was...
Sorry, it's Manila Masters. Yeah, I was in ESL Manila and Manila Masters.
And Manila Masters, yeah, sorry. Yeah, so Manila Masters then. So, yeah, we were part of the organizers for that. PGL ran the production. But they need to have a local partner because of Philippine na batas. So, that was it. ESL was run by ESL. Their local partner was Mineski. Manila Masters was Mineski, just Mineski.
Yeah.
That was really nice to see them level up and put together an actual international quality event. Of course, it's sad that we don't have one this year. God damn it!
And we should have
should have had one, but it went to Birmingham, and Birmingham had a shit format. So that's the story. Maybe in the future, kapag wala ng mga NDA. When we are old.
Yeah, we cannot.
Kapag matanda na kami,
may mga bagay na hindi kami pwedeng
may mga bagay na hindi natin pwedeng pag-usapan. But
because we're gonna get in trouble.
not only get in trouble. Not only.
Yeah, that's part of.
That's part of it. Pero yun, these are mga stories from old people in esports. Ganyan ilang taong ka na in esports?
I'm
14?
17 years old
17
right now.
years old.
So in esports,
Kapal na ako ka. Ay, nako. So, ayan. Alright, so is there any more questions pagdating dito? I do believe that yung TNC Game 2 is about to start though.
yeah,